Is California really that bad? Like, I get comments all the time about, from people saying, oh, the California has been ruined. Gavin Newsom ruined California. People are leaving California. And, it makes me think, like, is it really that bad? Like, living there, is it unaffordable? Is the crime really that bad? All of that stuff. Because I've been to California very briefly, though, but I spent in total like 3 days in California, 3, 4 days. And yes, to be fair, in San Francisco, I did see a lot of homelessness. I will say that in Union Square, but it wasn't like it felt like a wasteland or anything like that. So, what is it exactly that is so bad about California? Is it the cost of living? Is it, the safety?
Ah, California, once a beacon of hope and prosperity, has more recently been referred to as a failed state. How did this happen? How did the state I grew up in go from a dream to a nightmare? This is a complex question that can't be attributed to a single cause, but really a series of factors that have accumulated over time. Today, we're going to take a look and find out why people are now referring to California as a failed state. Let's take a look.
Because failed state, I mean, isn't California like the fourth largest economy in the world or something like that? So I mean, it can't be doing that bad, can it?
We might as well start with the money, or economic factors. One of the reasons California is considered a failed state is the economy. California has long been one of the wealthiest states in the US, with a GDP of $3.5 trillion in 2023. Now that's good. California covers the bills for a lot of other states. Here's the problem. The state's economy is also one of the most unequal, with a large wealth gap between the rich and the poor. This has led to a lack of affordable housing, rising homelessness, and an increase in poverty rates. California currently has two of the worst homeless neighborhoods in the US, the Tenderloin in San Francisco and Skid Row in Los Angeles. And before anyone does, yes, it's not just affordable housing that puts people on the streets. There are many factors that go into it, but this contributes to the problem. California's economy is heavily reliant on the tech industry, which has created a bubble that has led to skyrocketing housing prices, making
Yeah, for sure. Some of the house prices I've seen in like California neighborhoods, like Los Angeles, just astronomical. Like average houses being like well over 1 million. It's like if you don't work in tech in some super high paying job, how can you afford that?
it increasingly difficult for people to afford and live in California, the Golden State. It should be expensive, not that expensive. This has resulted in a massive exodus of middle-class families from California to other states. This, of course, has further exacerbated the wealth gap and made it even harder for low-income families to find affordable housing. Now, it's not just the tech boom. California, with its beautiful weather, entertainment industry, and reputation, has long been a popular destination for people looking to buy real estate or make it big in entertainment. Or sometimes they just wanted to live the lifestyle. That was the old days. Over the past few decades, the cost of living in California has skyrocketed, making it one of the most expensive states to live in. Now, there's a lot of different factors that go into California real estate and how it got so expensive. One of the main reasons it got so pricey is the population growth. The state has a population of over 39 million residents.
Wow, 39 million. How isn't Canada's population only about that much? So California has almost the same population as Canada. That's crazy.
Making it the most populous state in the US. This has led to a higher demand for housing, which has driven up prices. In addition, California's strict zoning laws and environmental regulations have limited the amount of available land for development, making it even harder to meet the demand for housing. Like we'd said earlier, California's real estate has become so expensive because of its thriving tech industries. Companies like Apple, Google, and Facebook have their headquarters in California, attracting thousands of highly skilled workers that are willing to pay a premium for housing. This has led to a concentration of wealth in certain parts of California, like Silicon Valley and San Francisco. This, of course, will drive up the prices. In the case of Silicon Valley especially, it's ridiculous how fast these prices rose and stayed there. San Francisco, which is just north of Silicon Valley, is perhaps the most expensive city in California, with an average home price of over $1.4 million.
Woo! Average. So to be able to afford that, you really need to be earning like whether it's one of you or two of you, the income needs to be what, like $300,000 at least, 350, 25%, right? For you to get a 4x multiplier on the mortgage. How many people are making $350,000 a year? You know, how many couples each pull in 175K? Man, yeah, that's insane.
The tech workers had money to burn and the longtime residents didn't. One of the other problems, San Francisco has strict rent control laws, and this has limited the amount of available rental units, making it even harder for low-income residents to find affordable housing. Basically, San Francisco said you can't charge too much, and they put all these restrictions in there that just made developers stop making apartments. Now, San Francisco isn't the only expensive place in California. You also have Los Angeles, with the average home price of being over $850,000. That's the average. Los Angeles.
Wow, I'm surprised. So LA's average house price is less than San Francisco. I would have thought it'd be the other way.
This is the second largest city in the US, and it still has a thriving entertainment industry, which has attracted many people to the area. In addition to the city's mild weather and beautiful beaches, it makes it a popular place for tourists along with that. This has led to people buying homes to rent them out as Airbnbs, driving up prices even higher. You finally work your way down the coast and you have San Diego, with the average home price being over $800,000. San Diego is home to a lot of military bases and has a thriving biotech industry, which has attracted highly skilled workers to the area. While there's no easy solution to this problem, it's clear that California needs to find a way to increase the supply of affordable housing in order to make the state more accessible to all the residents.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to tackle the house price situation, because unless people build more and they build enough so that the prices come down a little bit, you're always going to have more demand than supply, and that's going to keep the prices high. Yeah, this is a really complicated issue.
Another contributing factor to California's failed state status is its political system. California is a one-party state, with Democrats controlling both the governor's office and the state legislature. This has led to a lack of balance in the political system, with policies being pushed through without any real opposition. This is never good. That's why a lot of the southern states have been poor for so long. You need a balance. And that's just with everything in life, not just politics. If one party goes unchecked, bad things happen. Well, California's been unchecked for quite some time. California's political system has been plagued by rumors of corruption. And you know, rumors when it comes to politics are a lot like smoke and fire. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Many people say they're beholden to special interest groups rather than the needs of the people they represent. This is
Special interest groups. Can you guys give me some examples of what those could be? What is a special interest group?
has led to policies that benefit the wealthy and the powerful, all at the expense of the poor and the working class. Now, I don't know about the corruption thing. These are just rumors. These are stories. Who knows? It's politics. I'm sure there's a good amount of it going, but is that the main problem? I just think they've made some really dumb policies, bowing down to environmental groups, doing the bidding for the ultra wealthy, and turning a blind eye to obvious change that needs to happen. Now, that's coming from me, and I'm a bit of an environmentalist. It's like they're in the middle of a massive overcorrection. Kind of like in a car. You turn to avoid a problem. In this case, it's environmental issues, but they turned too hard, which created even more problems.
This is the thing with problems like this. There's no easy, quick solution. Like, anyone that says that they can fix all of California's problems, within a year is probably lying to you. Because how do you tackle the housing crisis? Unless you state sponsor the building of, a huge amount of apartments, for example, like a developer is going to want to make a profit. And if the cost of materials and the cost of workmen is really high, they're going to have to pass that on to the buyer.
Finally, California's social issues have also played a role in the decline. The state has a large population of undocumented immigrants. Now, this is another thing that's a double-edged sword. A lot of those undocumented workers are doing jobs in California a lot of Californians don't want to do. So in a way, they are helping the economy. The downside is, since they're undocumented, they're not paying taxes unless they buy something and pay the sales tax. In a lot of cases, their kids are going to school and they're really not paying into it. They go to the county hospital and aren't paying taxes towards that. They're putting a strain on resources, and this has led to increased tension between different communities. I don't hold anything against someone wanting to come to another country to get a better life, to seek asylum. That's what this country is all about. I wouldn't be here right now if my great-grandparents hadn't done that. But I think the different communities and the different people in California that have a problem with the undocumented immigrants is the fact that they're not doing it the right way. And I also understand that that's not always an option for someone that shows up at the southern border. A lot of really bad things going on in Central America, and if I was there, I'd probably head north too. But I think most people that do have a problem with this would just rather the people do it the right way if they can. Get their green card, do whatever, pay their taxes, just like residents and documented workers do. Now, on top of that, California has struggled with issues such as rising crime rates, drug addiction, and mental health issues, all of which have contributed to the state's decline. The state has also struggled with environmental issues such as droughts and wildfires, which also puts a strain on its resources. Billions of dollars get thrown into drought and wildfire stuff every single year. And honestly, it just doesn't seem like the technology is catching up with the problem.
It's true, because these wildfires, they just, when they happen, they're so brutal. And when I look at what's being done, it's the same thing. People, using hoses, helicopters flying in, water. There doesn't seem to be any innovation in the tackling of the wildfires, at least from what I can see.
Normally, when you have a problem in a society, technology will catch up, or technology will get to the point where dealing with it doesn't cost as much. When it comes to the droughts and the wildfire in California, it almost seems like they're doing the same stuff they did when I was a teenager in the 80s. I always remember watching those super scoopers, those planes that scoop up water from a lake or the ocean, and they can fly off and just dump it on a wildfire or whatever. Those seemed to work pretty good, and I remember years ago, they said they had to keep leasing them from Canada or something like that. Why not buy our own? That's what I was thinking back then. Why not buy our own? Then we don't have to lease them from Canada or whoever, and they're all on standby. Why don't we have 20 of these things?
Yeah, that's so weird, especially with the money that California generates in taxes and everything.
Cost $30 million. That's a pretty big chunk of change, but when you think about what they do, seems like a worthy investment. Anyway, I think the United States should probably have 20 or 30 of these things. Canada has 64. The United States has 4 of them. Los Angeles County has 1,
What?
San Diego County has 1, and the United States Forest Service has 2. Italy has 19. To be fair, that was the 2019 count that we had. If we got more since then, I don't know. That's the last time I could find any data on that.
Yeah, why doesn't the US have loads of those? I don't understand that. That's really weird to me.
So in conclusion, I'd like to give you the conclusion, and I'd like to give you an awkward pause. So here we go. California has become a failed state due to a combination of economic, political, and social factors. There's obviously no easy solution to these problems, but one thing is clear: action must be taken to address the problems so California can regain its status as a prosperous and thriving state for everyone in the state, not just the billionaires.
I mean, great video. I think to call it a failed state might be a bit of an exaggeration. Obviously, I'm not from California, so, some of you might say I'm not qualified to say that. That might be true. But I don't know whether it's a failed state, just a state that probably needs some kind of intervention. I think the two big ones are the housing crisis and the cost of living there. Like, if you can tackle those two things, and I suppose they're kind of the same thing, really. Like, if you can tackle those two things, you'll see a massive, massive difference. But at the same time, maybe this is by design, because by having rich people predominantly live in California, they're going to pay higher taxes, right? The kind of person that can afford a $1 million house, is probably making big money to get that mortgage. He's paying big taxes. So by bringing down the average house price, is it in the interest of the IRS, in California, to receive less taxes? Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.